But at some point, the 11-year-old's not going to want to attack you, and you're going to miss those days. So enjoy them while you got them, bro.
That's right. That is correct. All right. So SummerSlam has came and gone.
Yes.
We'll get into that in a little bit. But
Yes.
Brian, how's
Sir.
it going? How was your week?
My week is good. My week has been really good. Of course, I'm excited for tonight, the best hour of my week. Just spent some time with some friends doing the work thing. I think I told you earlier I got to give a
Yeah.
speech next week, so I'm prepping for that. Because I'm very shy and I have a really hard time talking.
Yeah.
So, so give it.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, so if you give me an open mic,
Yeah.
especially, I want to make sure that everything that I say doesn't get me canceled. So I want to make sure I'm good there. So here's my goal with the speech, Bradley. I am trying to avoid two things. Number one, avoiding anything I would consider being a do you boo boo moment, as well as not doing this. No matter what, it's a work based deal. So I don't want to say anything like this. It's kind of like when you go under the bed. And you slow. Yeah, I feel like that would not be the best plan. So those two things. So by the way, if I'm not here next week, I failed at least one of those exercises.
So, are you going to work Batman into the schedule? Hey, Kitty, how's it going?
I am sure. I have a hard time not making a Batman drop.
Right.
I may even make a Samuel L. Jackson drop. I probably will leave out the L stands for.
Right.
But yeah, the way it's going, I 100%. In fact, I already know I'm going to do at least one Batman drop. And so I know one of the people that's coming to the conference, we typically argue over who is better, Batman or Iron Man, because this friend of mine just has a crush on Robert Downey Jr.
Ah.
So two things came out of this. Number one, they had never seen the Lego Batman movie.
Okay. Yeah.
I go, you got to watch the Lego Batman movie. Gave them no preference. Well,
Yes.
Bradley, in the Lego Batman movie, what is the password to the Batcave?
Tony Stark sucks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
By the way, Will Arnett should just be the highest paid voice actor out there.
100%, dude.
Yes.
I'm 6 episodes in on Twisted Metal.
Dude.
I love it so much.
Bro. And it gets better. And then the other piece of it was they actually asked a new coworker of ours who is better, Batman or Iron Man. And spoiler alert, folks, he picks Batman because he goes, Iron Man dies. I'm like, yes, because you cannot kill. By the way, here's a quick tap for you. Could you imagine if Batman had the Infinity Gauntlet?
Oh,
dude,
God.
He wouldn't even need all 6. He could just do this at the will. By the way, hey, all kudos to Robert Downey Jr. way before and way after his Marvel stint, one of the better actors we have. But at the same time, the one thing that kind of took me out of that moment was when he goes, I am, and even though the I am Iron Man line was not new. He's used it before. But I couldn't help but think how awesome it would be to hear it either as Christian Bale or Will Arnett going, I'm Batman. And that would have just sold it.
Do you think Batman would actually take the gauntlet, though? I don't. I mean, he turned down a Green Lantern ring.
Right.
A yellow ring, too.
Yes.
Yeah, yellow ring.
Well, let's be honest. Had we moved, if we forget moving everything to DC, had you just dropped Batman into the Battle for Earth, into the Infinity War, basically he would have beat Thanos. So there would be no need.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've had this at a previous podcast. If Steve Rogers, geriatric behind, could hang out, but he is America's ass, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I would say that Christian Bale would then be America's wallet. I'm not sure how that works. Anyway, Bruce Wayne, I should say. But with that being said, he could hang with Thanos. Then, come on. Give him Batman?
Yeah.
Batman?
I mean, DC's pretty much nothing without Batman.
True.
And,
True.
And it'll be interesting to see who becomes James Gunn's Batman, because we are 2 weeks away from Blue Beetle.
Yes.
And so we'll figure out something cool to do for Blue Beetle.
I gotta admit, though, I mean, I want to see Blue Beetle, and I will see Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, though, the 18th might be the weekend for Strays. I don't know why. The Will Ferrell, Jamie Foxx, which very well could be horrible.
I mean,
It
it's
could
going to be a double feature
100%.
weekend.
Yeah, it could be horrible.
Yes.
But it might be before, and I love Jaime Reyes, but I think Strays might be, and I think Blue Beetle is going to have a longer time in the theaters than Strays. I think Strays has a very specific audience.
Yeah.
But gosh, I really hope Blue Beetle does well because DC needs a win. They really do. Flash, Wonder Woman 84,
Oh, God, yeah.
Flash. They really need a win here, and I hope they get one. Not to mention, it's a major big budget blockbuster. At least it should be blockbuster film with a Latino actor. I really think that's awesome. So let's a Latino character. I think that's awesome. So really, I just hope it's a good movie.
I agree. Well, with that, hey, let's go ahead and talk about our favorite TV shows, games, movies, all that for the week.
All right, sir. So I just broke into I got the Arkham Asylum collection. So I've just restarted that.
Nice.
That's been a lot of my weekend and just love it so much. The voice acting, I actually will pause. Just let the voice acting just take me. Absolutely love that. And then you and I talked a little bit last night. Beyond that, my big thing this weekend, both my movie and show of the week are going to be similar theme to the WWE. As much as we are comic book and fantasy nerds, we also like professional wrestling. Don't judge us because just like never mind, I was going to make a reference. I'm not going to do that. But then the other piece of it is,
it wasn't Judgment Day.
Yeah.
We weren't watching Judgment Day.
But the Judgment Day was there. By the way, let's just have a pause for Rhea Ripley. Let's just yes. Yeah. Can you imagine being Dominic Mysterio? He's paid. This young man and I think he's in his really early 20s. This young man is paid just to hang out with mommy. Like, dude. Bro, like his pops has got to be look. I was getting thrown off ladders.
Yeah.
Kevin Nash threw me into like a metal door. Okay.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, like
the
dude,
Super Shredder.
Yeah, like dude, like you're paid for this, and I don't care. The wrestling fans, a lot of trolls to say he's not that great in the ring. He's not his dad. Of course, he's not gonna be his dad and all these things. But dude, I think he's actually pretty decent. I like his character. And again, homeboy, whatever he's making, he gets to hang out with Rhea Ripley. And again, one more for the podcast, Rhea Ripley. And we'll move forward. All right. So my movie that because it was as long, it was actually longer than Oppenheimer, is my movie who's going to be SummerSlam. And I know you do. I say we're going to delve into this more for the sake of the podcast. But I actually this morning watched the Cody Rhodes documentary, American Nightmare: Becoming Cody Rhodes.
Yes, we're gonna be watching that very soon.
SummerSlam was good. This was amazing.
Excellent.
This was absolutely, and it shows you, and it was equally fantastic if you are a fan or just want to know more about Cody Rhodes. So so much of it makes you a fan of Dusty Rhodes or Virgil Runnels as a person. So check it out. It's really good. So that's going to be my movie. Again, I'm hedging my best a little bit here calling SummerSlam a movie. American Nightmare definitely was my show. And again, loving this jumping into the Batman Arkham collection. So, sir, what about you?
Man, my show that I just love so much is Lioness.
I'm behind on Lioness. Okay,
dude,
great.
Man, it's Zoe Saldana's show.
Yes.
And the other main character, her name slips my mind right now, but she was Dodge in Lock and Key.
Yes,
and
yes.
She is fantastic. She is gonna be after this. She is gonna be all over everything.
Blow up. Gotcha.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, Nicole Kidman's in it. Morgan Freeman's in it. I mean, it's got such a good cast, and it's a Taylor Sheridan show.
Yes.
So,
which also shows that Taylor has some range, right?
Yeah.
So this is completely different from really anything Taylor's done. So this is that. So again, by the way, James Gunn, if DC is not going to pick up some steam with Blue Beetle, you might want to have him come in, maybe write a couple things for you, sir.
Yep. And my movies, I'm going to go movies. I'm going to say TMNT, Mutant Mayhem, and Meg 2, The Meg 2. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, great family movie. You want to see it. It's great. It's fun. You're going to be entertained. It's exactly what a movie should be. It's
Gotcha.
not too long. It's got a cool little interesting take. The mutants in there are really cool, and there's a little stinger at the end. So there's my spoiler-free review of it. I would give it 4 beardies.
4 beardies.
4 beardies. I'm going to say Chris Stapleton playing with a ZZ Top, and they're playing legs.
I was gonna say with the subject matter being TMNT, then I was thinking maybe in honor of Splinter, instead of 4 beardies, maybe 4 whiskers.
That could be, yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
And with the Meg 2, sometimes all you need in life is Jason Statham fighting sharks. Yeah, that's yeah.
Now I would say I may prefer Ian Ziering fighting sharks,
Sharknado.
but Statham, because Statham is about so a dear friend of mine named Laura has a huge fan on Jason Statham, which I don't get how you have a crush on something that can fit in your pocket. But Statham's about to say Jason is literally about the size of Kevin Hart. But
Yes.
hey, whatever. Give him a car, ask him to transport something, or fight a giant shark. My man comes strong.
Yeah.
So all right, Jason Statham. Also, I think to get a beard, you should to grow a full beard, not just a perennial 5 o'clock shadow. That's just me.
This is true. That I'll give you that one. And I guess with that, let's go ahead and hit that music.
Hit the music, my friend.
Welcome to the Fandemic. This is a podcast that celebrates all the things that we feel are awesome in hopes of spreading our fandom to you. We are streaming on the Book of Faces, YouTube, and the Twitter X thing, because you know what? X is going to give it to you. In a Lone Star, I go through the best bad reviews that I can find based on title alone. In Prevenge of the Nerds, we tell you the stories that could have happened before and after your favorite movies, TV shows, and so much more. And in the Fandemic, we look at supporting casts of properties we adore, or attribute our favorite actors, movies, or if it's been a while, we just catch up on everything, and so much more. I have interesting conversations with amazing people monthly. I'm the self-proclaimed Emperor of Awesome, Bradley Butin, and this is the unverified twin.
Yes, sir.
Of Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the eyebrows. The unverified twin of Dave Bautista in the head wrinkles. And the unverified twin of Shamar Moore in the nipples.
My name is Brian S. Dennis, where the S stands for just like Roman Reigns. Undisputed.
Nice. What are we talking about today, man?
Sir, we're going to take a little divergence from our normal talk about fantasy, comics, video games, TV shows, and talk about one of our great loves, SummerSlam 2003, that hailed from Detroit. And unlike when the Lions play at Ford Field, there were actually victories that happened in the stadium. There were actually good things. There was actually quality athletics that happened at Ford Field last night, sir.
Nice. I was kind of thinking we're going to go over this and we'll rate every match as we go through. All right.
Works for me, bro.
And then after we're all done and get through everything, we'll go ahead and rate the SummerSlam as a whole.
I'm with you. I got the card pulled up. We can go from beginning to end, sir.
All right. Now, did you want to do your honest? Let's do the honest ad after all this.
All right, let's hit into SummerSlam then, sir. So how about I call the matchup for you, and then we'll just discuss it real quick. How about that one?
Perfect. Let's do it.
Beautiful. So we got our opening matchup. For those of you who are not wrestling fans, it'll be okay. But we have, number one, we had a one-on-one match between Logan Paul, the king of all things social media, and the man who is one and only Ricochet.
Dude, Ricochet is one of my favorite
Absolutely.
wrestlers today.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
I, you know, man, I really didn't even get into Ricochet until WrestleMania,
Sure.
and do no Money in the Bank,
Yeah.
and it was his match at Money in the Bank was just phenomenal. And this guy, I cannot wait for them to do a huge push for him. The Ricochet is gonna go all the way, man.
Yeah.
I was rooting for him. I mean, I knew it wasn't gonna happen because
Yep,
it's
yep. I
Logan
think I
Paul.
think and this will be a theme as we talk through the show. I think most of the endings we kind of knew, and that's
Yeah,
not a bad thing, by the way.
right.
Sometimes something is obvious because it's the right ending that should happen, right? There's a reason why the good guys beat the bad guys more often than not in movies, because that's kind of the ending that most of think we should get.
Yeah,
So because you may know who most likely is going over or winning, doesn't make the match any less enjoyable. And you're right, Ricochet and Logan Paul, as well for the opening match, did what an opening match is supposed to do. It got people off their butts,
yeah.
got people engaged, and while you love you some Ricochet, as do I'm a huge fan. I've seen some of the stuff on the Indies. I was a huge fan of his in NXT. I think he actually came up out of NXT a little early. I like to see him maybe
Mm,
win the NXT championship. But the other end, I think he maybe got lost in the shuffle a little bit. But I think which he's coming out of. He's had a couple runs with the US title. But dude, you got to give it to Logan Paul. I
man.
mean, for a guy who I counted it last night, and I meant to recount. I think from the in the WWE, and I think that's the only places he's
Mhm.
had televised match. I don't think you've seen him in any other promotions. He has definitely less than. In fact, we can count him out. He was in a tag match
Mm.
with the Miz at WrestleMania a couple years ago. He actually wrestled the Miz at WrestleMania this past year. He had a title match against Roman Reigns. I'm sorry, Miz a couple years late. No, he had a match at WrestleMania with the Miz as a partner. Then a match at another pay per view. I don't believe it was WrestleMania, but it was against the Miz. He had a title match against Roman Reigns. He turned heel. Actually faced Seth Rollins at this past WrestleMania. He was in the Money in the Bank match, which started the whole deal with Ricochet, and then Ricochet last night. 6 matches.
Yeah, man.
6 matches.
This is such a good match. I mean, like
Yes.
they work so good together. It was,
Hmm.
I mean, the how high they were flying, the
Yes.
moves that they were pulling off. I
Without
mean,
killing each other, by the way,
right.
legitimately. I mean, their injury uh, possibility had to be really high if they were just off on a little bit. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Logan Paul was flying, as was
yes,
Ricochet, because I mean that's what Ricochet does. But like Logan
yes,
Paul, I mean, like, man, when he was jumping off those top ropes, he was getting up
air,
there.
like for real. I mean, you
Wow.
can to show that both are obviously natural athletes, but athletes who have put the time into their craft. I am typically not a big, again, within the world of wrestling, I'm not typically a big flippy
Hmm.
match fan. I rather see things like headlocks and sharpshooter. I grew up, watching people
Yeah,
like Bret Hart and that deal. But if you're gonna have a match with a lot of flippy, a lot of high spots, a lot of things in the air, this is kind of how you would do that.
yeah,
And it was a match that got people off their feet, got people watching, got them all over Twitter or X or any other social media platform. It
yeah.
did it, and you're right. It actually had the end that it should have had with a little chicanery by your boy Logan Paul. And one more thing, just to again just give this guy his credit. 6 matches. I know he's been trained
Hmm.
out of his own pocket to be a professional wrestler. This is not a celebrity that comes in and just, oh yeah, I'll fall down or anything like that. Like, this is a guy who obviously respects the business to do it correctly and has a great, heel character, which is a lot of who he is normally. But
Yeah,
Dwayne Johnson said this famously that whoever you are in the ring should be who you are outside of it is turned up to 11. He goes, Dwayne Johnson is if The Rock is if you turn Dwayne Johnson up to 11. Steve Austin goes, if you turn Steve Austin to an 11, Steve Williams is his real name, you get Stone Cold. Same difference. So you turn Logan Paul turned up, we already had, and you get this again, and you get this. Not to mention, he did little things. We'll move to the next match. He did little things like he grabbed his bottle, his energy, his bottle of Prime, and was drinking it during the match. Come on now, why not get a little? Give yourself a little, give yourself a little self publicity there. So yeah, absolutely, a really good way. And if we're gonna do these on our beardy scale, 1 to 5, 5 being the best beardy ever, what are you gonna give this match?
5.
You're gonna give it a 5.
This is my I don't spoiler alert. This is my favorite match of the night.
Okay, all right.
This was my favorite match.
Okay,
I mean, dude, this will be my highest rating of all of them.
It will not be mine, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 4. I thought it was really good, especially being the opening match. It did what it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Again, thought it was really good, and I'm glad it was really the only match like that on a card. You have multiple of those matches, it kind of kills it, but I thought it was really good. And like you said, even my biggest hope is we get Ricochet they really push Ricochet after this. Whether he's ever going to be a main eventer or not, who knows? But can you push him, give him a run at something, give him a really good feud, give him something. And by the way, the best part of Smack that I saw in building in the feuds was having what Logan Paul pointing out that the ring announcer, who is Ricochet's fiance, go, she's got to say my name when I beat you. And that was wonderful. I mean, it's little things like that. That's real life. That's real talk. You got to give it to him. All right. So we're going to give a 5 for you and a 4 from me. All right. Next up, we're going to have my favorite match of the card, which was Cody Rhodes. And you heard me mention earlier with the documentary. And again, it's 2 hours and it's 2 really great spin hours if you get a chance to watch it. But the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, who probably is my favorite wrestler right now, taking on Brock Lesnar. I was going to try and do my best. Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar, and I don't got the voice for it. But Cody versus Brock in their probably the ending of their feud, their rubber match. They were tied 1-1. Yeah. And this one again, and remember, this is only the second match of the card. Yeah. This to me was my favorite match. I think overall the best match on the card. What are your thoughts?
Man, pretty close, dude. I love the mutual respect at the end. Like I mean,
yep.
For the first part of that match, Brock Lesnar was just throwing Cody Rhodes all over the place. Yes,
treated him like a rag doll.
Right. And you could just see he wasn't even breaking a sweat. No. And then the way that ended, I guess did we even say who won the last match? Well, so Logan Paul defeated Ricochet.
Defeated Ricochet. Yep.
Yeah. And spoiler alert for this as well, Cody Rhodes actually beat Brock Lesnar.
And they famously said in the commentary, one of the few people that have been, especially since he came back and really since the last probably 3-4 years, they really, really, really pushed him because he doesn't work a full schedule. He works probably 5 or so pay-per-views a year, which he obviously goes over the majority of those matches. They typically are high-level main event matches. This was even though it was the second match, it was one of the more anticipated matches on the card.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes has gotten so great.
Dude, the pay-per-view, the documentary, again, I'm going to keep referencing it. It explains so much of his journey, even the deal with the hair, the tats. This is a quick spoiler on the document, but it's really cool. He had so much to do with this because up and down it's talking about AEW, the Young Bucks, and the WWE typically does not acknowledge. Speaking of Roman Reigns later, acknowledge me. They typically don't ever acknowledge the competition unless they bought them at some point, or they own them in some way. He just made sure, including parts he verbally tells the producer and the cameraman, like, don't edit this part, and he legitimately gives due respect to AEW and his partners that started AEW, All Elite Wrestling. So this is probably, in my opinion, the most honest WWE document I've ever seen. That's one I think is one of the best. Back to the match with him and Brock. He has to beat Brock not only twice, but he beat Brock 2 out of the last 3 pay-per-views, that what they now call them premium live events.
Mm-hmm.
That's gotta be that doesn't happen very much with Lesnar.
Yeah.
And you're right, the ending was perfect. The ending was absolutely
Yeah.
perfect. The show of respect, that's really again old school wrestling. But you have the heel bad guy, baby face good guy,
Mm-hmm.
and you will have with certain feuds at the end of it, they beat the hell out of each other. It's kind of like you took the beating, and it honestly goes back to a lot of things the way his dad would handle a lot of feuds.
Yeah.
Is I can't stand you. You can go suck eggs, but you're a hell of a fighter, and I respect you, and you got that. Now, I do got a question on it since you've seen the match.
Yeah.
Brock Russell's a part-time schedule. He's getting older. He probably does not need the money.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's how Brock handled that? I mean, it was someone emotional. You saw Brock smiling. You
Yeah.
typically see Brock smile after he's put someone through a table. Do you think? I don't think this was the last time we see Brock, but do you think this is maybe the sign that Brock's going away for a while?
I was actually kind of thinking that earlier too, because in my brain, I'm like, why hasn't Brock taken the titles from Roman Reigns? Because
Sure.
he absolutely could.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that he's gonna be less.
Sure.
And I think he's gonna come back fewer and far between.
Yeah.
Until until we get someone that's gonna fill that void, which I
Right.
think there's a few hopefuls
Yeah.
that can fill that monster role, but I'd be okay with it. I mean, I like Brock Lesnar. I think he's just he's just a good person. You don't even have to have a feud with him, but if you have a match with him, I mean, that's just kind
You're
of
gonna get out of the matches.
yeah.
They've also created him in a way that it's only. I mean, he's almost as you mentioned Roman Reigns. He's almost like a world champion without holding the championship, meaning that
Mhm.
he only really has matches with the upper level folks. He's had a
Yeah.
long program with Roman Reigns. He just was in the last 3 pay-per-views. Which when the last time, and he had a match at WrestleMania. So he had a match at WrestleMania, then he had a match at Backlash, he had a match at Money in the Bank, and then he had a match here at SummerSlam. He's wrestled in 4 straight pay-per-views. It's probably been over a decade, legitimately, since we saw Brock Lesnar, even when he was a champion,
Mhm.
at 4 straight pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So he probably is due take that. And also, who's there left for him to work with at this point? He's had programs with Roman. He's had programs with Cody.
Mhm.
Seth, I think, is they're still building Seth to do other things.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre isn't there right now. I don't know where Bobby Lashley is. They've only got Braun Strowman's hurt. They've only got a
Omos
few.
maybe.
Yeah, Omos maybe,
But
there's
yeah,
only
we'll talk about him in a minute.
there's only certain people. You know what? And by the way, if they don't have this brilliant idea, do not do this. Do not put Logan Paul in the ring with Brock Lesnar, because that just for someone that makes a lot of money based on things outside of the ring. Do not put, as you said, he threw Cody Rhodes around like a rag doll.
Yeah.
Just on the off shot. Let's not do that. Even if that's Logan's idea, the answer should be no. All right. So yeah, where are we going on the rating of that one?
I'm gonna go this one a 4.5.
All right, 4.5.
4.5.
The
Yes.
toe, just the toe over the 4.
Right.
Right.
I want it because there's a couple more that's going to be pretty close to that,
Right.
but I want to make it sure
Okay.
that this one is. I got a couple that's going to be in the 4s.
All right. Cool
I want,
beans.
but yeah, this was probably my second favorite.
I'm gonna give this one 4.5. It was my favorite match. I will say this though, it is not my highest rated match. It's my favorite.
Oh, okay. You want to say hi? Well, here, actually, girls, you guys watched SummerSlam. Why don't you go here and tell Brian what was your favorite match into the mic? What was that?
You wanted to show her face.
She's eating peanut butter, and I want.
Oh, okay.
I'm eating peanut butter because I have the hiccups.
What was your favorite match? Bianca Belair.
Honestly, that wasn't mine.
We just talked about Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar.
Probably Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cody Rhodes was cool.
Awesome.
Yep.
All
He
right.
is cool. I give it to you.
So, all right, we'll say bye bye. No, I don't want to. All right, say bye bye, and we're gonna get going because we're going to the Meg later.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Yes. Why do you have to bite Daddy? All right. Got a couple vampire kids.
Dude, that's your fault. I know the type of movies you take him to. That's totally your fault. All right.
True. True.
Next.
My room, so imagine
No,
my
you're-
room.
no.
Okay, girls.
All right. Next up, we got the battle royal. We'll just jump to the spoiler alert because I think the big part of the battle royal. So battle royals are cool. They're more so prominent when I was younger watching them. Now, really, what we see pretty much is the Royal Rumble. And then Andre the Giant one's around, but I don't know if it really does anything for anybody. This one was cool because for number one, it's a well done Royal Rumble, a really well done battle royal. But in my opinion, the most important part of this is that it gave us what we needed to get, which was we got a moment for our boy Mr. LA Knight, and that absolutely is what they needed to do. He was even with the United States champion in the match. He, without a doubt, was the biggest name, the most over. I mean, the crowd. I mean, only two people did we get to see their interests coming out.
Yeah.
One was LA Knight. One was, you mentioned before, Omos. And those that are not wrestling fans, Omos is a 7-foot+ gentleman from Nigeria. I love MVP as his manager.
Yeah.
And he came out. He's getting better every time we see him out there. And I think he, again, someone they probably have literally and figuratively big plans for down the line. And, you know, big people, Giants losing battle royals, is that kind of a thing that would happen?
Yeah.
Got to hedge their bets. How are we going to get him out? Well, you just said he's losing, right? Yeah. But I love the fact that LA Knight won that one and got some time in front of the cameras to really celebrate his victory. What are your thoughts on the battle royal?
Oh man. So the one thing that I didn't like about it, and I couldn't get over it throughout the entire match, my rating will show that, is that they started it while Omos was still going to the ring.
The ring, yes.
And
yes.
to me, he should have been out. I mean, like, either
start
the match,
out. Yeah.
Right, start the match when he's in the ring and let them beat the crap out of each other until then.
Sure.
Or, you know, what's the rule there? You know,
right.
I hate what the WWE is doing to The Miz because I love The Miz.
Sure.
And I feel like they're kind of making him and Sheamus and a few others kind of chumps right now.
Yep.
And man, I will say that I am coming around to LA Knight the more I watch. But yeah, it was just that beginning part where they're making this big deal about Omos. Sure. He's gonna come in and clear everybody out, and then they start it, and he's still walking for like 5 minutes.
Right. And the entranceway was long. I mean, there are a couple of people, and I think this will come up when we look at the women's match as well. Again, it's Ford Field. It's a football stadium. In some of those stadiums, they've talked about how WrestleMania usually gets this as a criticism is the entrances take so long just because they are just incredibly long distances. So your choice is that, again, you're about to go have a match. You either can walk it, it's going to take forever, or you can run it and you're going to blow yourself up and take a minute once the match starts because you've kind of blown some of your oxygen there. I personally, again, what I liked about the match was, again, that we got to see a couple things. Like I got to see Chad Gable, the guy that goes shush. Not a big fan of that, but I think he athletically is like a mini Kurt Angle, which I think is kind of cool. I think
is he from Iowa? I mean, Gable is the Iowa wrestling name.
I think maybe I'm going to have to Google, but I think you might be right there. So I think he personally, I would love him to have more of a singles career. But the thing with Otis is fine. But we got to see a little bit. We got to see Omos throw a few people out, but it was LA Knight. But before I get to my rating on this, I got a question for you. So you said you're coming around to LA Knight. I knew him a little bit from his previous work as Eli Drake. But this is things, especially if you read stuff online, honestly, if you've just been a wrestling fan for, let's say, long in the past 10 years, so much of what he does, he says, I've seen an interview, he goes, when he was a wrestling fan, these two guys are really, when he was young and a wrestling fan, these two guys were the two biggest names. He may have just accidentally ingrained some of the things that they do. but to me it's obvious so much of his character is not influenced, but is really taken strongly, almost like a hip hop sample, strongly from Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. I mean, it's
a little under pressure, to the extreme.
Right,
it's a little under pressure.
Yeah, like Vanilla Ice. No, it's different. It's different. Is it? Is it really? Yeah. I mean. Also, when he comes out, he's got on the vest, very similar to Austin.
Yeah.
A lot of his promo is very much The Rock, other than he goes, yeah, at the end of it, which there was a guy that said, hell yeah, a lot. His two big moves in the ring is he has an elbow drop that he points to the fans before he does his theatrics and delivers it. People's elbow. And then his finisher, the blunt force trauma, which while it starts off a little different, it basically ends the same way that the stunner does.
It's kind of like there's nothing original in LA.
Bro. And to be fair, if you again saw stuff in TNA when he was Eli Drake, it was the same deal. I mean, this isn't like he changed it just because he getting into WWE. And I think that some people say, oh, he went to WWE. No, he was the same character, different name in TNA. It's just in the WWE. It is just so more apparent. Now, I'm not saying the guy's not talented. He is. He's probably, I think, outside of Cody, the wrestler that has the best promo ability. There's some Paul Heyman's a great manager that can do promo. You talk about wrestling, who really can get promo off the top of the head. Other than when you let Cena go hip hop, I think LA Knight and Cody are probably their two best full-time wrestler promos right now. I think he's good enough. He's really athletic. But the other part of it that sometimes takes me out of it is I feel like, again, I'm in my 40s. I feel like I'm watching someone, it's like when the Amalgam comics came out and they go, what if Wolverine and Batman became one character? They gave us Dark Claws. Like, what if we made The Rock and Stone Cold to the same character? Like on a video game, I'm going to create a character that's half The Rock, half Stone Cold. I'm going to call him LA Knight.
Yeah.
And I think that's a thing. And I think that's why a lot of his fandom are younger fans, let's say 30 and less, because either they really didn't watch Stone Cold and The Rock when they were doing it, or they've only seen them on television. And the other part also, have us to come out and can really cut a good promo is so few and far between that we're like, absolutely. So, all right,
nice.
What do you want to give the what do you want to give the battle royal here?
2.5.
I give it a 3.
Yeah.
I give it a 3. Like I said, the best part about it was LA Knight, and we just talked about how LA Knight, has some things.
Yeah.
Okay. Hell yeah. All right. Yeah. So now I'm gonna go to my least favorite match of the night. And it's not because it's featuring the women. I think it was a match that we really got forced to watch. I think it was premature.
It was horrible.
Was Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey.
It was so bad.
It was so bad. It suffered from a few different things. Number one, this was a feud I don't think anybody wanted to see.
Yeah.
They were the women's tag team champions. I actually liked them as the women's tag team champions. And I was like, we got to give Ronda and Shayna something to do. So we'll have them fight each other. So the tag team broke up with no really rhyme nor reason. I don't know who I was supposed to root for. They both came off as heels. It would have made more sense if they wanted to do this, to have Ronda attack Shayna. Yeah. Because every time Ronda would give a promo, and she's supposed to be the baby face. She's supposed to be what the people like and want to win and cheer for. She just made it worse. Like, people just wanted to boo her. So then we go like, well, who are we supposed to root for? And you started the crowd reactions. They just didn't root for any of this, booed everything.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was such a poorly choreographed match too. I mean, like it was force kick, Return of the Jedi bad. There, man. Like, and I'm sorry, but like I don't buy that Shayna Baszler, I'm sorry,
Baszler,
would win that match. And what I mean, like, what in the Mandela effect happened that she can win the match against Ronda Rousey. I mean, when the entire it was so bad, man. Like I was actively trying to go to sleep and take a nap during this match.
I may have dozed a little bit myself last night. It also was suffered because it came off of, again, the Logan Paul Ricochet match, the Cody Brock Lesnar match, both who were really good matches. And even though, again, the Battle Royal wasn't a match on the part of the previous two, you had LA Knight, who was really over with the fans. So now you follow that up with two participants that, you know what? If it was, and by the way, if had it been Miz versus Sheamus, they probably would have been just as quiet for the things you said. They've not really been portrayed well, and they also tried to make it an MMA match, but not really because
that was so stupid.
Yeah, I'm like, and to your point, to make it a believable again, to Baszler winds up winning, they should have made it a wrestling match. Shayna Baszler in NXT was excellent. Had a great match with lots of different competitors, and you could have just said, like, she wins due to her wrestling ability, her pro wrestling, even though Ronda may be a better MMA fighter, Shayna's a better professional wrestler. But it was this weird hybrid match, and it just didn't do anything. And yeah, so I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give it a 2. I'm gonna give it a 2.
Awesome. So yeah, we're pretty close. So we've been pretty close on everything so far. Well, I guess you're a little bit higher. I'm giving this one a 0.5.
Wow, I don't think it was that bad, but you just weren't feeling it, my friend.
I was not feeling this one at all, man. Like I found myself, and we were actually going to YouTube and watching Ronda Rousey MMA matches during this, and the girls were like, she should be kicking her ass. And
yes,
it was so bad, man. Yeah, 0.5.
Yes,
0.5.
Yes. All right. Okay. So next up, Intercontinental title match. And again, this was a 9-match pay-per-view. And I'm looking at the times right now. So the Shayna Baszler Ronda match was the shortest match of the night at almost the shortest match of the night, technically.
Yeah.
But it was 7.5 minutes. Many of the other matches were all around the 20-minute mark. In fact, a couple that were over 20 minutes, which again just impacts it. So next up, we've got Gunther versus Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental title. The Ring General, Gunther, or as I knew him as Walter. I hate when they change their name for no reason.
Yeah.
But we got Gunther versus Drew, Hairy Chest McIntyre. What are your thoughts?
I like Drew McIntyre, but I can't stand Gunther, and I don't.
What?
I don't know,
oh
man.
My goodness.
I do. Okay, I have to be honest here. I fast forwarded through this match after the first 3 minutes of it. Man, I just can't stand Gunther. Can't stand him.
I love Gunther. I think.
What am I missing? What am I missing with this?
I mean, I personally like him because, again, I think it goes back to the first one we talked about. You love Ricochet and Logan Paul.
Yeah.
I really like that match. One thing that I like Gunther is, or again, Walter. Is that opposite of that. He gets very serious promos. He has almost no catchphrases. I like the Imperium group. I like at his size, as hard hitting he is. He legitimately bruises every one of his. I mean, I don't know if you ever saw the match between him and Sheamus. Sheamus being very, very pale. I mean, you could just see Sheamus by the time the match was over, the amount of bruising that was in his chest from Gunther's chops. And Gunther's chest was bruised from McIntyre. I mean, he gives as much as he gets. I think he's incredibly athletic. I think if you made Finn Balor's skill set in Braun Strowman's body, you get Gunther. And and he seems to be just like this stoic old school heel that eagerly coming out back in the day when not everybody had entrance music. He would just come out, and he's really what you want as your secondary champion.
He's like William Regal.
But I was a big William Regal fan. So he comes out, he really doesn't do, and again, no flips. He's not going to do anything really. Everything he does is athletically spectacular. It's just not very, gymnastic, if you will. And I just like he has an old school. Here is basically his top 3 moves, but because he delivers them, it makes them so believable. A splash off the top, a clothesline, and a powerbomb. Thing that you will see almost on every matches anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody does a super kick. Everybody does a moonsault. Everybody does a clothesline. Everybody does a DDT. Everybody does a powerbomb, and nobody wins with them. And he does, because he's just that believable. And I think, again, I think they said last night he was 32 days away from breaking Honky Tonk Man's record. So that would make 31 days today. I don't think there's another pay-per-view. I'm not sure, but I don't think there's another pay-per-view that he'll be defending before that. So I think he's most likely going to break the record as the longest running Intercontinental Champion. And that also, to me, is a great thing, because I like when we get long runs for champions.
But there is such a thing as too long of a run for champions as well.
We're going to talk about that before we get done. But I'd be curious to see if we're at the too long point. All right, give me your score for Gunther versus Drew.
So this is going to be an unfair rating because I did fast forward it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm going to give this a 1.
A 1. So let's retrospect. You fast forwarded through Gunther versus Drew and gave him a 1. You watched Shayna and Ronda, gave it a 0.5.
So I have a reason for that.
Okay.
I have an 11 and a 13-year-old daughters.
Fair.
So yeah, they
Fair.
want the girls matches.
Fair. And they should.
Yeah.
And you know what? While we didn't have a great one in Shayna versus Ronda, I think the other women's match was really good. All right.
Yes, we will be getting there very, very soon.
In fact, we got one more, then we'll get there. So now we've got, and just give me a second. This is Brian Dent's opinion. Do you boo-boo? My absolute least favorite title they have right now, which is the WWE World's title.
Mm-hmm.
For no other reason than this. We went over 2 years with one world champion. The WWE, I know you're a bigger AEW fan. You're a bigger fan of AEW than I am. But at the same time, the WWE is without a doubt the number one wrestling company in the world. Even if you don't like them, it's the fact. Just like when people go, I don't like the Yankees. Well, they win.
Yeah. Well, sometimes.
Well, sometimes the Patriots. Yeah. Well, you can trust me as a Falcons fan, wasn't loving Tom Brady, but they win. Okay. Yeah. So with that being said, you need one. They have too many damn titles. And I said the same for AEW. There's too many champions. Everybody's got a title.
Yeah.
But when you talk about world champion only matters if you have one. They need one world champion in the men's division, one world champion in the women's division, one world champion in the tag division. That should be it. You can have secondary titles all you want, but it's got to be one world champion. They had one world champion in Roman Reigns for the better part of 2 years. Then they created this new belt, which they took the old WCW/NWA title, slapped the WWE logo with a globe on it, and now they call it the WWE World title. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with the guy that holds it. It has nothing to do with the people that he's defended against. He's had really good matches. It's my least favorite title. That being said, they made it. So it's being defended by Seth freaking Rollins. We both live in Iowa. So we got a Davenport guy. Colby Lopez is his real name.
Yep.
Defending against one of my favorite, most underrated people, I think, on the entire card, Finn Balor, the Prince. Did you watch this one in its entirety?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
I hope so. Because for no other reason, we'll get there. While she did not have a match on the card, she was also present. Rhea Ripley. Yes, continue, sir.
Man, yeah, this was a great match. I've liked I really like Seth Rollins. I used to really like Roman Reigns, but I don't think he works as good as a heel. But Seth Rollins is one of the best wrestlers that we have.
He is. He really is.
Finn Balor, I feel like just within the last couple of years, it just came out and just been phenomenal.
Could let him be a heel. Let him be a heel. His entire career in New Japan was pretty much as a heel. Even when he was a babyface in NXT, he still had kind of an edge. They tried to make him way too happy, smiley on the main roster, so he works much better as a heel. I'm not sure who is the leader of the Judgment Day. He's supposed to be. I still think it's Rhea Ripley.
That's fair, yeah. And I will say this: the one last thing with Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, they really are my beard brothers.
Facts, both of them. And you know what? And Seth with his wife, Becky Lynch, does enjoy some Applebee's. The match overall is really good. Seth wins, but while that's part of it, he continues his reign. I thought they did a good job of, for a moment, I thought, well, maybe Finn does it, because they did a great spot there. They looked like Finn was going to win and take the title, but then we got a Judgment Day sighting. All joking aside, Rhea Ripley is really awesome. Dirty Dom is really great. But now we got Senior Money in the Bank with Damian Priest, who is really, really great. They're definitely, I think they're going towards, if not a complete breakup of the Judgment Day, because we just lost the Bloodline a few months ago. They definitely seen, or did we? Spoil,
yeah.
There definitely are, before Damian catches it in on someone, probably Seth. They're definitely sowing the seeds for something to go on with Damian Priest and Finn Balor. And the big thing is when one of them turns babyface, I'm not sure. I mean, when Damian Priest first debuted, I made him a babyface. He's much more serious. He's more of a natural heel. I think Finn works better as a heel. But I definitely think we're going to get a Finn Balor, Damian Priest match sooner than later, probably for the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And Damian Priest, I didn't really like up until recently.
Sure.
His match at Money in the Bank was great.
Yes.
It was so good.
His match with Bad Bunny, I'm thinking, wait, he had a really good match with a rapper. I mean, that's really, and with being in Puerto Rico, they're both Puerto Rican. I think that also helped as well. But yeah. So what are we giving that one out of score 1 to 5?
I'm gonna give this one a 4.5.
I will ride with a 4.5 with you there, sir. I will give that one.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So next up, we the best women's match of the night, and also it's a really good match overall. Triple threat match: Bianca Belair versus Asuka versus Charlotte Flair. The match was won by Bianca Belair. A really great finishing sequence that led her to be to winning this. And then we got a little more to talk about, but just thoughts on the first piece. Bianca getting the title back from Asuka in a match that also included Charlotte Flair.
Man,
what do you think? What do you think about that?
This was one of the better matches of the night.
Especially for a triple threat, which sometimes can get a little sloppy. This was really good.
Right, man. Bianca Belair is always on point.
Yes.
And I'm not really a huge fan of Asuka,
but yeah,
Asuka, I got a Ahsoka Tano on my brain.
I got you. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it was well done, super well done. Yep. I'm gonna give and the ending even made it better. So are we gonna put these together when we rate them?
Let's do them separate. So the first fall, which is Bianca winning the title. Where are we going?
I'm gonna give this one a 4.5 as well.
Okay, I'm okay with that. By the way, and no disrespect to Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, though, if you notice in the intro,
overrated.
I don't think she's overrated. Here's the deal, though. Her father wrestled for easily 30 plus years, as far as the prime part of his career. He retired a few times too. He was a 16-time world champion. John Cena is a 16-time world champion. Triple H is a 14-time world champion. Charlotte Flair is a 14-time world champion.
Yeah.
Because of, again, when you have two world titles, people switch brands every year at least, and you have all the pay-per-views, and you're building a division. They did this hot shot a lot of her reigns. And she's been gone at different times due to injuries or whatever 14 times. We did not need Charlotte Flair winning another championship probably for a while. Let's give it to Bianca. Let's give it to Asuka. And then also let's give it to what happened next, Bradley. We had the shortest match of the night, but one of the more enjoyable. And we had a Money in the Bank cash-in by Io Sky.
Man, here's what I got to say about that. Woo! Thank you.
By the way, Charlotte is also in the Cody documentary, because of two people that probably have the most similar journeys in wrestling would be Cody following an American Dream and Charlotte following Rick. Okay.
Yeah.
So with it, by the way, Ric Flair makes a couple of spots in it, not looking well. not looking good. So, Rick, hopefully, whatever you're doing, change it up a little bit on the sir. All right. So we got the Money in the Bank cash in. It was short, sweet. It was 6 seconds technically from when they rang the bell. Io Sky cashing in. You had Bailey and Dakota Kai joining the ring after she wins the title. She wins her first championship on the main roster. What are your thoughts?
Man, it was exactly what it should have been. It escalated the prior match. We're gonna get some really good Bianca Belair against Io Sky.
Absolutely.
So you know what? This one here, I was gonna give this a solid 4. Short, sweet, did everything that a Money in the Bank cash in should do.
Very cool. And I stand corrected. It was 8 seconds. So now with that, we get to the main event, which actually featured a man who calls himself the main event, Jey Uso versus the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE Universal Champion. You need to acknowledge him, Roman Reigns.
For 1,070 days.
So before we get to the match, you said earlier championship reigns can go on too long. What are your thoughts on Roman's title reign just in length at this point?
Man, it's to the point where I don't even care. It's because it's like, okay, he's not going to lose the belt here. So it almost becomes like I know what's going to happen in the match, and it takes it down a few notches.
Sure.
This should have been the top match for me.
Sure.
This should have been. But the entire time, I'm like, okay, so X is going to happen. X is going to happen. And lo and behold, it does. It's just like it was so predictable because they don't mix it up. And the 1,070 days is just, man, 3 years, over 3 years with the belt or belts, if however you want to do it.
Yeah, at times it's been multiple belts, right.
So it's like, at this point, just retire the belt.
All right. So here's the deal. And I rarely say this in the history of our podcast, but you are absolutely wrong. You are 100% wrong. First off, Roman Reigns is so much better as a heel than a babyface. They should have done this with John Cena, but they couldn't. The guy's given the most make-a-wishes in history. They weren't going to turn him they weren't going to turn him heel. So they turned Roman Reigns heel, and I think he has all the swagger, all the confidence that a good heel could do. And I think they've done something that I think is really smart. I don't want my world champion wrestling at every pay because there's too many. Back in the day when there's only 4 or 5 a year, you have him wrestle everyone because there's only 4 or 5 a year. Now that there's one every month, sometimes more than one in 30 days, having him wrestle every time burns through angles, burns through matches, ups the chance of injury and devalues the title. So I love the fact that you don't see him wrestle on every pay-per-view. You see him in tag match. You don't see him on SmackDown wrestling that often, and it furthered the feud. So here's the deal. Real quick and wait to the actual match. You do have a point. Everyone knows that he is not losing that title at any event other than a WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
There was a great, which is why, again, I think this is the 5th time I've mentioned it. Watch the Cody Rhodes documentary because it runs through this year's WrestleMania. The other piece of it is you could definitely make the argument he should have lost to Cody back at WrestleMania. I think he does drop it at WrestleMania 40 because it's WrestleMania 40. Most likely, and let's not say most likely, it should be. Remember, said earlier, just because something's predictable doesn't mean it's the wrong decision. It should be to Cody. So Cody should either win the Royal Rumble this year or not have 2 titles. Someone else wins the Rumble. They challenge whoever the world champion is. Cody wins that elimination chamber or some other way, and he's going to face Roman in a rematch, and that's when he goes over. And now you've done this entire storyline well over a year, really better part of 2 years of Cody finishing the story. Watch the documentary. They completely kind of alluding to that. Beyond that, then it becomes, if you know he's not going to lose, to Jey. We knew he was not going to lose to Sami Zayn when they wrestled in Montreal. Both of these matches, I think, knowing that he's not going to drop the title, they both did the same thing. They gave us a match that at points you suspended all your wrestling knowledge and you believe just for a second it could happen. For the majority of the match against Jay, now this is why this is my highest rated match. In most of that match against Jay, you completely go, yeah, it's a good match. Roman's not going to lose. Then you had that flurry at the end where he put Solo. So remember, his actual brother through a table. He then spears his actual cousin, and they came off with that Uso splash. And I was like, okay, I was expecting Roman to kick out or something because he's not dropping it. But I was like, maybe. And you see, and this is what gave it the highest rating. But I don't know what the hell they do for it. It was more make me want to watch SmackDown on Friday. Is you see Jay being pulled away, and the minute that you saw somebody with a hood up and a mask, you know it, and they didn't make you wait for it. He quickly takes the stuff down, and you see the cornrows, and you could tell they're probably leading to something because they really done a good job of having the Usos, again, fraternal twins, but they look a lot alike.
Yeah, they do.
Really making sure their appearances are separate. I think we're building to a match, maybe not until WrestleMania. But you saw Jimmy Uso, who's the older of the two twins, I believe, pull out his brother, cause the interference with the super kick. Roman pins him, but you didn't see Jim again. Little things. Jimmy didn't get in the ring to celebrate with Roman and Solo and Paul Heyman. You see him walk away. And then you see Jay sitting there going, no, why? It wasn't that he lost the match. It wasn't that he lost the title of Tribal Chief. Is that his brother turned on him, right? And I think that is going to be very, very interesting. And it did something that the fans really got the fans going. No one wanted to see the Usos break up. I said earlier, no one to see Ronda and Shayna break up because no one really cared about that tag team to break. Yeah. It was like, we don't care enough to see them break up to really matter. No one wants to see the Usos break up.
There's like
no one. And that's what they
Usos are one of the best tag teams ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, Edge and Christian, Hardy Boys.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So now you've got that. So I've gone a little bit long on this. I want to get to my rating. I'll turn over to you, tag team partner. This one gets my highest rating. I'm going to give it a 4.75. Not my favorite match. That's Cody and Brock. But for all the things that it did, and it's the main event, and it's the world title, and us all knowing there's no way that Roman's losing still made us care about it, I got to get a 4.75. What about you, sir?
So, doesn't change my mind about Roman Reigns, but...
And again, he's going to hold it.
He's going to hold it till April of next year.
Yeah, and he should, by the way. He should. There's nothing, not Survivor Series, not the Royal Rumble, definitely not any of the smaller pay-per-views between now and WrestleMania. He has to hold it till WrestleMania. So, no, please don't get injured, Roman. Get us to WrestleMania so we can have a proper change of the guard. But please go ahead, sir.
I am going to give this, because of the ending and everything that you said.
Yeah.
This one for me is again a 4.5.
I can live with that. All right.
So like
there it is,
the way that SummerSlam went down for me was it had a really freaking amazing really freaking amazing match. It had a bunch of fucking awesome matches.
It really did.
And then it had a couple of whatever,
Yeah. I mean, to me, there was only one. I wouldn't even call Shayna and Ronda a bad match. It just was a match no one cared about. So, with that being said, I mean, that to me without out the low. I mean, again, Io Shirai's 8-second match against Shayna Baszler. I mean, excuse me, Bianca Belair to me meant more than the 10-12 minute match that Baszler had against Ronda Rousey. Yeah. But again, the main event, again, not my favorite match, my highest rated match. And this was one, other than the length, again, clocked in a little over 4 hours. And remember, this is also in Ford Field, which is in Detroit, which is the East Coast. So that meant the show didn't start until 8 p.m. and it didn't end until after midnight. And there were kids in the crowd. I think that's why you started seeing the crowd noise kind of going down a bit for a lot of the matches. You were just exhausted. It was a long night, and then you got to get home, right?
Yep.
So that being, which is another reason why I'm glad it was on a Saturday night, even though it's in the summer, on a Saturday night, not Sunday night, so there's no Monday work for a lot of people. All right, sir. So let's give our final overall. We've talked about the different matches. Let's give our final overall one for this one. And I got an honest ad for you, my friend.
Cool. I'm gonna say out of everything, from a 1 to 5 beardies, I'm gonna give this 4.
Give it a 4. Okay.
Yep.
Taking everything into account, I'm gonna be a little, and this is different. Normally, you're more generous than I am on the ratings, but I'm gonna give this one 4.25. Again, primarily due to Brock and Cody, Roman and Jay, Logan and Ricochet, and I actually did watch the Intercontinental title match, and I actually dug it. And again, even with LA Knight, or as I'm gonna start calling him, Stone Rock.
Which would be a really cool name for a wrestler.
Yes. Who are you? I am Stone Rock Johnson. Or like the type of movies you would keep in the box that you would slowly pull out from under.
And what's in the box is a stone rock.
There it is. All right, sir. Okay, so I'm giving 4.25, giving it a 4. Again, for those of you who are not wrestling fans, thanks for coming along the ride with us. This was fun. I like we get to do our kind of replay of the pay-per-views, or again, premium live events. So, sir, would you like an honest ad?
I would love an honest ad.
All right, here is my honest ad for today, August 6, 2023. Calling all foodies, time to end the debate. We have discovered the perfect food to fill your plate. It's not sushi or steak or even caviar. It is the one dish that calls you from near and from far. Full of flavor, quality, veggies, and meat, it is the one food that has its own day of the week. Styles include beef, fish, and even Choco. Yes, my friends, I'm talking about the taco. Corn, flour. I personally like Fluffy. Eating tacos makes it impossible to be stuffy. If you enjoy your tacos on days more than Tuesday, to quote Ice Cube, today was a good day. My honest ad for the taco.
Well done, sir. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
I love it. Do you have a human of the week?
Yes, sir. And you know what? Because we spent a lot of our weekend watching wrestling, I've been to some movies. I got to give it to, again, I was just saying this the other day, to a former wrestler. And we talk a lot about former wrestlers, actors. We talk a lot about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Again, I'm done verified twin in the eyebrows. We talk a lot about Johnson, especially related to his casting as Peacemaker. And, you know, even going back to the days of Thunder in Paradise with your boy Hulk Hogan, brother. He doesn't quite get the pub that the first two get, but he is, I think, and honestly, a really great actor. And that's one David Bautista. So I want to give him some love here. And just looking at his most recent filmography, dude, I loved him in Hotel Artemis. I love him in Army of the Dead. He, to me, steals The Glass Onion. And then all the movies is Drax. And again, I think he's starting to really steal Guardians of the Galaxy. And I think he stated that was his last time playing the character of Drax, because he's got lots of other offers. And I talked about it in last week's podcast. I was just really enthralled by his character in Knock at the Cabin. So Dave Bautista, hopefully chill on the ink a little bit, bro. It's getting a little out of control. But beyond that, and I gotta love the head wrinkles. Hey, that's why I keep a little bit of hair up here. Dave, I've got to give you all the pub, all the love, and you are my better than us human of the week.
For my better than us human of the week, I have to go to the master of all turtles, the Splinter, Jackie Chan voices Splinter, and it is amazing. He is the perfect person to do it. His personality comes out so much in that. If you haven't seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, go see it. John Cena is a voice in there as well. I mean, John Cena's having a good summer. He had a cameo in Barbie. He's in Turtles, you know, so I mean, doing pretty good. And there's my human of the week.
Fantastic, sir. All right. I think we've buried the on awesomeness. Why don't we put a pin in this one, sir?
All right, you can tweet at me at Fandemic3. You can message me on Facebook at the Fandemic, and I'm also active on TikTok at the Fandemic1, which I actually I'm actually putting the podcast up there in different clips and stuff like that. So check that out. You can hear reviews and so much more. Brian, where can we find you?
You can find me on the Book of Faces, Brian Stephen Dennis. Give me a like, give me a follow. We like to keep it fun and always try and make it weird. So want to see you on the social media platforms, folks.
If you want to support the show, there are several ways to do so. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/thefandemic. Find us on Patreon at patreon.com/PVOTN. Fandemic. Become an episode assistant, episode producer, pre-veg producer like Stacy, or yes, you could be part of the con. You could be part of the Council of Nerds, starting at about $5 a month. You can go to anchor.fm or go to PayPal and Venmo at Bradley Butin. So it help me keep the lights on. You know what? Or you can just share the show with someone you want to make a little more awesome. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. Now, Brian, I think it's time. How do we end every episode?
Again, I want to thank all of you and our listening and viewing audience for joining us. Was the best part of mine and Bradley's week. And please remember, no retreat, no surrender. And Goonies, never say die.
All right. Friendship is like peeing on yourself. Everyone, you can see it, but only you get the warm feeling that it brings. And remember, if cauliflower can become pizza, you, my friend, can do anything. Have a good day.
Bye-bye, folks.
Bye-bye.